Spice things up. I looked her over hungrily. Her curves and soft creamy skin glowed in the matching black bustier and black panties that pressed against her body. I pulled her in and started kissing her forcefully, pulling off her lingerie as the action started heating up. And as I was doing this, I started to notice something was different. I was totally soft. I wanted her badly. Her naked body pressed against mine. Her sweet, feminine scent filled my nostrils, and I felt the same intense desire for her I had always felt. But I wasn't responding. My member felt paralyzed. I kept waiting for something to happen, but I never got hard. She started to notice that something was wrong and gave me a "what the hell is going on here" look. I tried to relax and keep making out with her and stall for time. She started to fondle me to give me a little boost, but it still didn't do the trick. I felt a rush of anxiety overcome me. I scrambled for what to do. I'd never had a problem like this before. We both kept trying for a while, but the more we tried, the worse it got. My member just laid there, completely lazy, soft, and limp. A warm tide of embarrassment overcame me. Sophie tried to reassure me that it was okay, but on some level I knew it wasn't. I mean, I did notice a little drop in my drive the past few months, but I didn't smoke. I didn't drink to excess. I got plenty of exercise. I just assumed it was stress. I've been working a lot of hours at work finishing up a big project that was going to mean millions of dollars in new revenue for the company I worked for. I tried to brush it off as just a one-time thing, the kind of thing that happens to all guys. But you know as well as I do that ED can really start to mess with your confidence. I started having a tough time even enjoying a night out on the town with my girl. That nagging little voice in the back of my mind pestering me with thoughts of what if it happens again. It really got in my head. I started losing interest in sex, and my erections were less and less predictable as a result. It got to a point where I went weeks without having an erection. I just didn't want to admit that I had a problem. But then came the moment that brought everything to a head. Sophie's girlfriend had come in from out of town, and I got a text from her late in the evening. "Hey, can you come and get me at the bar? Yvette and I need a ride." After I'd picked them up, I realized that they were both pretty buzzed. I looked up to Sophie and asked her if she wanted to stay at my place after we dropped off Yvette. "What are you asking, Olivier?" she said with a gleam in her eyes. I just smiled back at her knowingly. "Just that it's closer than driving back to your apartment," I said with a tone of mischief. Just then, Yvette rang in with a drunken, slurred voice and said, "If you're inviting her over for sex, you'd better get it up this time, 'cause she's starting to feel neglected." I immediately felt a hot wave of shame roll up my face like I just opened up a 400-degree wood-fired stove. Sophie tried to defend me, yelling out, "Shut up and mind your own business," but the damage was done. After that, I knew two things. Sophie was talking to other women about my problem, and I could no longer pretend that my on and off erections were not a problem anymore. I knew that if I didn't do something, I would lose the woman that I loved. And that night, I talked with Sophie about it directly. At first, she held back, not wanting to hurt my feelings. But when I confronted her, she finally came clean and told me how she really felt. What she told me made me sick to my stomach with shame and guilt, but I had to swallow it. I knew I had lied to myself long enough. I almost felt like vomiting when she said, "Olivier, I always feel guilty, but when some of the guys at my office flirt with me, I can't help but feel attracted to them. I just miss regular sex. I care about you, Olivier, but I have a sex drive too, and when you can't perform, it does make me feel, well, neglected." That was the last straw. I knew I needed to do something or risk losing her. So I booked an appointment with a urologist to get to the bottom of it once and for all. After he asked me all the normal questions and did a few quick tests, he looked a little puzzled. I didn't smoke, drink to excess, or have diabetes or prediabetes. I exercised frequently, I ate healthy, and while I had a little extra stress, it wasn't anything a 38-year-old man shouldn't be able to handle. He just looked over the chart, looked back at me, and said, "Well, you're perfectly healthy. I think we'll just start you on Viagra." He wrote me a prescription and sent me on my way. I remember how embarrassing it was to fill the prescription, but That quickly went away when I realized they were charging me $8 a pill for the meds. But I was desperate, like I said, and eager to get my relationship back on track, so I paid for the pills. I even called in a favor with an influential friend to set up a reservation at Maison Bolude, a very exclusive French eatery in the Ritz-Carlton of downtown Montreal where I live. I wanted it to be a perfect romantic evening with my lady. And after dinner, we retreated to a suite I had booked at the hotel for champagne, strawberries, and a little naughty fun. In the middle of dinner, I went to the bathroom to pop the pill so that I'd be ready when the time came. After the meal, we retreated to the suite and had a glass of champagne, and after making out a little bit, Houston, we have liftoff. After a few sexless months, it was amazing. After the fireworks display in our suite, I noticed that I was still hard. Great, I thought to myself. I'll give her a little extra lovin', just to make up for lost time. As I was gearing up for round 2, I suddenly felt really cold. I got a feeling in my stomach like I was going to be sick,